for us. Hello, and welcome back to the Real Horror Show podcast. I am Samantha, joined as always by the stormy skies.
Hello, listeners.
So, after 5 years of podcasting, Stormy brought it up to me that we should do an intro explaining our thing, how we rate movies. So if you've been around for a while, you know how we do it. It's been on our website before, which does exist. It is functional again.
Yeah. Oh, sweet.
So I think the ranking is still on the website. I haven't looked too deep beyond updating it occasionally.
It's most definitely there. Yeah.
So welcome to the Real Horror Show, a horror movie review podcast where we review horror movies from Netflix, Hulu, Shudder, and everything in between. I'm your host, Sam Odie, and I'm joined, as always, by the stormy skies.
Hello, listeners.
So welcome to our podcast. Today we will be reviewing Audition, the 1999 Japanese horror film, directed by Takashi Miike, based on the 1997 novel by Ryu Murakami, starring Ryo Ishibashi and Eihi Siina. The film is about a widower who stages a phony audition to meet a potential new romantic partner. After interviewing several women, he becomes interested in Asami, whose dark past affects their relationship.
I'll say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So this is how we break down our reviews. We start with characters and acting, then we move into story and writing, and then we save production for last. I don't know. I've never really thought of a good reason why we do characters and acting first, other than the fact that I'm a playwright. So the first place I start is my character list. Whenever I'm reading a play, the first thing you see is the character list. And I think characters and acting overall have an impact on the story, right? Like,
I've never questioned the order it's in, so I agree.
I question it.
I question why is it like this. I like the characters first. Yeah, it's good.
And then we like to discuss the real horrors this movie addresses. Sometimes sometimes they're serious, and sometimes we like to have a little bit of goofy fun. That being said, we are a horror movie podcast, so here is a general trigger warning. We talk about death, blood, guts, and other unsavory topics that might not be suitable for everyone, although we do try to do so sensitively. Listeners' discretion is advised. Movies are rated on a scale of what the fuck did I just watch, which means they have very few redeeming qualities to be found. Meh, which means it's okay. And yeah, that fucked me up. And that is what all horror should strive to be.
Strive to be, yeah. They want to achieve that grade.
Yeah, and sometimes there's crossover in the rating. Like sometimes the what the fuck did I just watch? That just means what the fuck did I just watch? And you guys can decide. Like Skinamarink is definitely a what the fuck did I just watch? But go watch it for yourself and explain it to us.
Absolutely. It's all up to interpretation. This is just our opinion, but we do have different backgrounds with a horror focus, I would say.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're here for fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you should be too.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get started. So this was my first time actually watching Audition. I knew a lot about Audition going into it because every year back when Bravo would air it, I would watch the 100 scariest movies of all time or 100 most disturbing movies of all time, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And Audition ranks fairly high on that list. It's one of Eli Roth's favorite films and has a lot of influence on how he does movies.
Yeah.
And so it's a very important staple in the horror genre, not just Japanese horror. And it did come from the studio that did Ring.
Oh, cool.
They were looking to do another big hit horror movie after the success of Ring. So they brought in Takashi Miike, who is a very well-respected director in Japan. I know for sure there's at least one anthology that discusses all of his movies. He's a big Yakuza movie director. One thing I do think is interesting as we get into this, since this is our second Japanese horror movie, and how for a significant amount of time, America was remaking Japanese horror. This is one of the few that does not have an official American remake. I will say it kind of does, because My Chemical Romance's second music video ever was a remake of Audition.
Which one is that? I'll have to watch it.
Honey, This Mirror Isn't Big Enough for the Both of Us. From You Brought Me Your Love, I Brought You My Bullets.
Yeah, the first album.
Which can you even call yourself a My Chemical Romance fan if you started with the Black Parade? Like, no.
I think not. I think not.
Like I did start with Black Parade, but I immediately went back to Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge, and then I Brought You My Bullets.
Right. Yeah, I think it's because of our age whenever the Black Parade came out. So, but yeah, definitely.
But like, just I Brought You My Bullets is such a raw album.
Oh yeah, it's excellent.
They're very much Gerard still dealing with fucking 9/11 trauma.
Yeah.
And just screaming most of the time.
Yeah.
They didn't even have Bob on drums yet.
No. Yeah, they didn't. But
R.I.P. Bob.
I'll have to watch that music video after we record.
Yeah. And I just want to point out with that music video, so often with American remakes, when we finally get to talk about the American Death Note movie, we'll talk about this more, is they don't cast Japanese or even just Asian actors in the roles. However, My Chemical Romance, this tiny little nothing band, when they made this music video, managed to find all Asian actors to fill the roles. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. That's so crazy.
Interesting.
There's Asian actors in America. Crazy.
Yeah. But I want to say is, I think the reason there's no like official American remake that's ever happened isn't necessarily because they're like, oh, this is such a perfect movie, we're not going to touch it. Because a few months after Parasite came out, they were already talking about doing a Hollywood remake, which is stupid. I think it's because Audition probably hits too close to home for a lot of Hollywood movie producers. Not naming anyone in particular, but maybe someone whose name rhymes with Sharvey Beinstein.
Yeah, that would be problematic.
Yeah.
Just to make a biography film about yourself. Oops.
Yeah.
Just interesting.
All right, so let's get into actors. Our main character is Shigeru Aoyama.
The man.
He's our main character.
Okay.
And the actor Ryo Ishibashi seems to be let me double check and make sure I'm okay. Yes, he is the one listed first. He does seem to be a bit of a horror person in Japan. He also stars in the first two Grudge movies, if we get to talk about those.
Okay,
So
yeah.
He is a horror person in Japan.
Nice. I love when
and
that
then
happens.
I looked into Eihi a bit, the lead girl who is phenomenal. I'm gonna rave so much about her. I loved her so much.
Yeah.
She's done a lot of like kind of campy action movies.
Okay.
I think like anime live action movies.
Yeah.
Based on the title alone, I didn't look too deep into them, but I recognize some of the titles sounded familiar.
Yeah.
Based on animes I've seen.
And
so
she's a Japanese model. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, like, I'm gonna tread lightly because Asian women are often fetishized in the Western world.
Yeah.
But she's so fucking beautiful. like absolutely stunning. I was mesmerized by her anytime she was on screen.
Yeah.
Her hair perfection.
Yes. I know. I love.
Oh my god.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Like when I was a 14-year-old straightening my hair every single morning before school.
Yep.
That was the dream. That was the dream hair.
Yeah, that's where we wanted to look. Just beautiful, like naturally pinned straight. Yeah, shiny and just thick and beautiful. Yeah, we love it.
She was absolutely stunning and
she looked great.
Could do so much better than this loser guy she's dating.
Listen, I'm looking at his like IMDb picture, and he looks pretty good. His IMDb picture.
I mean, he's handsome, but he's also very much older than her in this movie, and that's a
I
plot
know,
point.
but he was like really sweet though. Okay,
He
we'll
is
talk
sweet.
about it. Let's talk all about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other major characters in this movie is his, I guess, co-worker, film producer friend who helped set up the audition. He's here and there. He doesn't play too big of a role other than setting up the audition and doing the whole inciting incident. And then his son, Shijihiko, I think is how it's said.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I looked into that actor, Tetsu Sawaki. He hasn't done a whole lot after this movie. His last film credit was in 2002.
Okay.
So those are the major players.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then his deceased wife makes a couple of appearances, once in the beginning when she's dying, and then during the dream sequence when shit is hitting the fan.
Yeah, that was crazy sequence.
So that being said, we can start segueing into story, because this movie does what I really like in horror, is, and what I try to do when I dabble in it myself, is create a completely normal situation, a completely normal existence these people are in, and then it takes a sudden left turn into Crazyville.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Crazyville.
Like,
yep.
So this movie is really set up like kind of a romantic drama. There's some like ickiness with two older male producers setting up a fake audition to get one of them a date.
Yeah.
But aside from that ickiness, it is very much set up like a drama more than a horror movie.
Yeah, it is.
Even when we meet Asami, she just seems like a very timid, shy young woman.
Yes.
It's not until we get that smash cut to her in her apartment, which is just a normal 20-year-old girl's apartment, no furniture, just a phone and a random sack, nothing weird about that.
Yeah.
And she's sitting on the floor for 4 straight days waiting for him to call.
Yeah.
Which, that, not to repeat the word iconic too much again, I think that's one of the most iconic shots in the horror genre, is her, like, I can't even replicate I can't even replicate that pose, because she's so small that her spine just sticks out on the back of her neck, and
it does.
It's so good.
Yeah, she's kneeling, but like think of like kneeling and sitting on your heels, but like her like calves are splayed out, you know what I mean? So like her butt's on the floor and she's like hunched over, and all her black hair is like all over her face. So it just is a creepy look.
Yeah. Very.
So you know something's amiss when you see that.
Yeah. And when the phone starts ringing, the bag starts moving, and it's just,
yeah, and you're like, oh, well, that's awkward, but anyway, at least he called her.
Yeah. So his wife dies, and we jump forward like probably 10 years or so. The son's in high school.
Die?
I think cancer, probably.
Oh, okay.
Some cancer or some other illness that mothers always die from.
Yeah, usually. Yeah. Just being sick.
Yeah.
They just die.
Got
you.
So it jumps forward, and the son's like, hey, you should consider dating again. You just seem kind of lonely. Because the son's getting older. He's spending less time at home now.
Yeah, he's getting into girls himself, and like also he's like obsessed with dinosaurs too, which is cool.
Yeah. So he's started moving on with his life, and now that he's getting older, probably getting ready to go to college if he was like 6 in the opening scene. Yeah. He just wants to make sure his dad's gonna not be lonely when he's gone.
Yes, and I feel like a lot of kids like think about that, like like when you're gone, you're like, I hope someone like is also with my parents, so they're like being cared for, so you don't have to like worry about too much responsibility when you're trying to do your own thing at this time in your life.
Yeah. And so the dad talks to his friend at work, and they both kind of decide on this plan to set up an audition to find him the perfect woman. And
Yes.
as he's going through resumes of women who submitted for the role, he becomes entranced by this particular resume from a woman named Asami, because her letter is just so emotional and so full of like depth.
Yeah.
And this is jumping ahead a little bit. I didn't realize this until we got to the dream sequence where both she and the wife are in the same room, but I thought they looked very similar.
Yes. Yeah. The first thing I thought when he was looking at the audition pictures is that he was looking for someone that looked like his wife.
Yeah. And she looked very similar. I saw it especially like in the corners of their mouths. They kind of had the same way of like tweaking their lips into a not smile.
Yeah. Like a smirk.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. They look very similar, and that's probably why the second he saw her picture, he was like, oh, this could be the one. And then he read the letter and just kind of fell in love with her through that. So
yeah,
they go through the audition process, and it's kind of a fun scene with all these women coming in and doing their pick me routines.
Yeah, but like real quick for the listeners, this audition is a smoke screen for these women. They think they're going to be auditioning for like the star of like a new movie or like a romantic series, something like that. So they have no idea that it's actually, they're just being looked at.
Yeah.
And I didn't know there's going to be boobies.
Yeah.
But there was, just briefly.
Yeah.
But I can appreciate that it was just briefly.
Yeah.
So that's fun. But
which is interesting because Japan does have fairly strict decency laws. I think boobs are fine.
Okay.
But even in porn, penises are censored.
Really?
Yeah.
Penises. See, they'll get me started on the whole thing again, Sam. So I'm not seeing a dick.
give us the dick.
I know. But yeah, anyway, the auditions, they go on and on for all day.
They go on, and Asami is the last one to come in, and like, I mean, that's just it. He's in love with her. He's like, that's the one.
Yeah.
His friend tells her to wait a few days before calling, which is when we get the like 4-day sequence of her waiting by the phone. And finally he calls and they meet up for lunch, pretending that she lets it ring for a while. She doesn't want him to know that she's been waiting this entire time.
Don't want to be too eager. You just have to like, play the game a little bit.
Yeah. So they begin casually seeing each other, and he's just in love with this mysterious woman who seems to have a lot of tragedy in her life for being so young. Yeah. But she's enchanting. Like, she's fucking beautiful. Like, there's no way around it.
And her voice I found captivating because it's so soft and smooth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just love listening to her speak.
Yeah. So he tells his son that he's seeing someone, and his son is very happy for him. His son also has a girlfriend that he meets, and she's very sweet.
Very cute.
And everything seems to be coming along great. We're introduced to their cute little beagle. I love beagles.
Hey, once I saw the dog, I know the doggy was cute, but once I saw the dog, yep, yeah,
it was game over. I knew what was going to happen to the dog. So with his son's approval, he asks Asami to go to a beachside hotel with him for a little getaway, and this is where he plans on proposing. And Asami reveals some burn scars that she has on her leg, and before she lets him have sex with her, she makes him vow his undying love for her and that he'll love no one but her. Yeah. He's moved by this and agrees, but when he wakes up in the morning, she's nowhere to be found.
Red flag.
Red flag.
Red flag number 2 or 3.
Yeah. But he's not ready to let her go just yet, so he uses her resume and what little information he's gathered about her life. Like he knows the dance studio she learned ballet at. He knows where she works as a bartender. So he starts tracking her down at these places, but they're all abandoned, more or less. Especially the dance studio where we meet her dance instructor, who's the one that burned her legs when she was a young girl, and how he very likely molested her.
Very likely.
Very likely. Heavily. If you don't think she was molested, then you're also the kind of person that argues that Freddy Krueger was not a child molester.
Oh my God, it's literally, they literally say it in Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah. So,
anyway, so bye to those people, but anyway.
Yeah. Yes, it's heavily implied. They don't outright say it in this movie, but the flashbacks that we get, absolutely, he sexually assaulted her as a child, and he is now wheelchair bound with prosthetic feet.
Yeah, the feet. Oh.
Yes. And we don't quite know how he got that way, but we'll find out very soon.
Yeah.
And so the next place the dad goes to find her is the bar she allegedly works at, where a guy says, no, she's not here anymore, and then tells him this creepy story about something she allegedly did, which was cut off a guy's feet. And when they found the feet, they also found 3 fingers and an extra tongue in the bag.
And an ear,
And naturally, the dad is horrified.
He like has a freak out. And the guy's like, yeah, really scary story, I'm telling you, huh? Anyway, bye.
And meanwhile, while all of this is going on, Asami has gone to his house where she finds the photo of his late wife, and she is enraged by this, and she drugs his liquor.
Yes, of course.
Yep. So when he comes home, he has a drink and passes out, and we get this trippy flashback dream sequence where we see what's going on in her apartment with the bag, and the music producer that she works for that went missing has been in the bag with his feet cut off.
That's him. Okay.
Yeah. His tongue cut off. And a scene that is like very iconic, very memorable for this movie that I forgot about until it was happening. She feeds him her vomit. She vomits into a dog bowl and feeds it to him. And even thinking about it, I'm gonna gag. So.
I was thinking about it all night after you told me, and I was like, should I I'm gonna rewatch that scene.
Why would you do that?
Because I need to like, so I can be disgusted too, because I'm like, oh, I thought it was like funny because I thought it was like food. Not food.
I can handle a lot. I can watch, like, there were a couple moments in Saw 10 where I cringed.
Me too.
Did you watch Saw 10?
Yes, girl. I'm so sorry I didn't tell you.
Oh my God. Wasn't it so good?
Yeah. Okay, but anyway,
Anyway, so the one thing in Saw 10 that made me cringe was the woman who had to suck bone marrow out of her leg. I was fine. I was fine until I saw the bone marrow coming out, and I was like, oh God, gross.
Yeah, just the idea of like stabbing something into your bone. I'm like, that's gotta hurt too, man. Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, so I can handle a lot, but like any bodily function other than blood and guts, it gets me. Like just the thought of eating the vomit, and he was eagerly eating that vomit. He was into it. I was like, no, I can't watch this.
Yeah, I found it I'll have to watch on YouTube. It's called The Disturbing Scene from Audition. So I guess that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. But yeah, I will rewatch it because like I unfortunately, like when I was watching it, I like missed the part where she throws up, and all I noticed was like him getting fed it, and Sam was like telling me that it was actually vomit, and I was like, oh my God. So anyway.
So yeah, that was gross. And then
super gross.
We also get some of his like weird fantasies and kind of a closer look into his head. While he is a sweet guy, he does seem to have creepy notions towards women. Like first she goes down on him, and then she turns into his wife, and then turns into the son's girlfriend, and it's just a very creepy
coworker, the
coworker. Yeah. So just kind of a creepy scene of how he does sexualize the women in his life, all the women. in his life.
Yeah, but like, why only a blowjob? It was weird. Which is fine, but yeah.
And probably a blowjob because
yeah.
let's look at sexual acts. Is a blowjob and really any like oral sex is a very like one-sided sexual interaction.
That's a great interpretation. So
Yeah.
I would agree that 100%. He's just like, yep, give me a BJ. I'm just gonna stand here.
Like candy stuff, you guys can do it to each other at the same time, and I guess you can do oral stuff if you're 69ing,
but that's a different story.
Yeah, but like a blowjob or just going down on someone is a very like one-sided.
It's like a singular, like I'm just doing this for this person and I'm getting nothing in return other than and that's it. So
yeah.
In the instance of this film, guys.
Yes. I think we're supposed to look at it as a one-sided sexual gratification.
Yes, absolutely. Great. Okay, that's a great point.
So finally he wakes up from this fantasy, and we also do get the moment where in like the dream restaurant where they went on one date with, and he sees his wife at the other table, and she tells him, no, don't marry this girl. Probably his own subconscious coming back and finally realizing the red flags that were there. Like, I can't believe he never noticed that the girl wore the same outfit on every single date.
Yeah, the white outfit with like the button up to like her neck. Yeah. Wait, I have a question about the sequence though, the dream sequence. So we see them both together on like their like date whenever they're just kind of like drinking beer at like the bar restaurant. And earlier we see them both talking, and she's just like talking about like, you know, how her parents are well and everything is fine. But in this dream sequence, she's like having a longer conversation, and it's like really sad and deep, and it's about like her parents, like her broken family and like her abuse and like all this stuff. So did that conversation happen, Sam, or are we just getting, as the audience, getting her background in this dream sequence?
That's a really good question. I think it could be both, that we're getting more of her backstory, but also maybe she did try and tell him this stuff, but he just didn't want to hear it. So now that he's unconscious and he's aware of what she's done in her past, like all the red flags that she said in her own words are coming to him.
That is like, was my second thought. I was like, maybe like he just like is trying to pretend that she's like literally perfect.
Yeah.
And nothing else is a red flag. So her life is like insane.
That's how I'll choose to interpret it. But I could also just see it as a one-sided, it's for the audience moment. But I think the director's too smart for it to just be that. I think it's because they were on these long dates. So
so what they talk about. Exactly. I agree with you.
Your parents can be well, but they could also be divorced, and that divorce really traumatized you.
Yes. Okay. Yep.
And ruined your look on love.
Right. Okay. Then I wanted to clarify that, but I agree that is definitely how I see it too. Awesome.
So the dream sequence ends, and we enter into the body horror aspect of this movie, which is what ranks this movie so high on so many disturbing movie lists. He wakes up from the dream, and he collapses, he's asleep, but then he kind of wakes up, and she injects him with a paralytic agent that leaves his nerves alert, but he can't move or scream. And she starts to torture him with evil acupuncture.
That's a great description.
She uses tiny I don't know if they're actually acupuncture needles or just sewing needles, but she jabs them into his lower eyelids, not directly into his eyes. Thank goodness.
Jesus.
And before she comes out, we actually get a glimpse of the dog that she killed, which made me very sad because I thought that's one of the more graphic like dog deaths I've seen on screen.
It's just like all dead in there.
Because I did just rewatch Halloween at the Drive-In a couple weeks ago. And the dog does get killed on screen, but it's very like mild. He's barking, and then Michael breaks his neck and he stops barking. It's pretty tame. Very rarely do I feel like we get blood and guts with an animal death, because we can't handle it.
We can't, no. So I'm glad it was just a moment of seeing it though, and wasn't like a drawn out thing where we saw her do it, or else that would have like upset me. So I was like, oh no, but he's dead. I'm like, oh, I knew he was gonna die anyway.
I knew he was gonna die, but I also wasn't ready for it because I love beagles. I want a little beagle and I want to name it Shiloh.
It's so cute. The beagles are so cute.
They're so sweet.
I know.
So as she keeps saying deeper, deeper, as she keeps putting the needles in, and then she decides it's time to cut off his feet like she did to the music producer. And her tool of choice is if you've never seen Audition or this particular scene from Audition, like I feel like everyone in the horror community's at least seen this scene. It's like a clay cutting wire tool, or a wire tool that you use to cut big pieces of cheese.
Right. Yes, girl. I'm gonna look up what it's called.
Wikipedia says wire saw.
Wire saw.
Yeah, because it's a big wire that is very sharp, except for the handles.
That's what it's called, girl. Wire saw, multi-purpose.
Yeah.
Or cable saw.
And she found multiple purposes for it.
Yeah.
So she uses this tool to gleefully cut off his foot. And this is where I didn't want to be weird about calling a Japanese woman adorable. But I have to. Cute, she was so fucking cute while she was cutting off his foot. And I think she had to be for the scene to be as creepy and disturbing as it is.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Like she could have done it stone cold or evil, but she went with girlish glee, and it's just
super cute. Yeah, because she is like a very young woman. So yeah.
I think they say she's only 24. And
24.
That youth really comes out in this scene with her girlish giggle as she's cutting off his foot. And then when she's done with the left foot, she doesn't even want it. She just chucks it to the side, which is really cute.
Throws it at the door.
Which was super cute. And then she gets to work on the right foot.
Yeah. But then
when his son comes in, and you see she's doing all of this because he made the promise that she would be the only person he loves. And she meant the only person he loves.
Yeah. So no doggies, no sons.
Yeah, no doggies, no sons. And because he did love his wife before he loved her, he needs to be punished for that.
Yeah, he already lost the game.
Yeah. So the son comes in and she's like, oh, goody. And she goes to get her, I guess, paralyzing spray.
Yeah, what is that? That's she like a mace or something.
Either a mace or chloroform, highly concentrated chloroform.
Some type of
definitely spray. Something that was intended to knock him out.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
And the dad can't cry out, but then suddenly we get a smash cut to them back in the hotel, and she's there and everything's fine. She accepts the proposal and they fall back asleep in the hotel and they're in love. Oh no, but that was that was a dream. That was a false awakening. And his son is actually fighting Asami right this moment for his life. He manages to get away from her, runs up the stairs, and then as she chases him, he just kicks and yeets her down the flight of stairs.
Yeah, he does. And she's like, and I was like, wow, she really flew backwards. Big kick.
And then her neck is broken, and he comes back down to call an ambulance for his father and for her. And the last thing we see is her, quote unquote, talking to the dad, saying that she loves him and she can't wait. She can't wait to see him again. She can't wait to see him again. She looks forward to seeing him again. Trying to words sound weird right now.
No, it's fine.
And I'm pretty sure that was all in his head because her neck was fucking broken.
Yeah, she was literally dead. But he was just listening to her, and he was looking at her, and I think that her dead body was saying all the beautiful, kind things that she said to him that made him feel like they had a connection.
Yeah.
And I think it's him feeling sad that that was all just psychobabble and she didn't mean any of it, and she's been planning this from the beginning.
Well, I think she meant it.
Yeah.
I think she meant it, but she is a very
But
troubled girl who's been hurt by everyone who claimed they love her. Like they loved her. Like the dance teacher who hurt her. Surely
yeah.
he said like sweet nothings
Oh
to
yeah.
make her feel like this was normal and that he loved her, because that's the typical groomer way, is to make
Yep.
the victim feel special. And then her parents' divorce, which, you know, probably ruined her outlook on love and relationships. And then so she just has been hurt repeatedly by people who claim they love her.
Yeah.
And so it's caused a psychotic break in her.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
So yeah, you're probably right. She did mean a lot of that, but he wanted it to be true and it not end in bloodshed and her death.
yeah, he wanted
He wanted to be with her. I think he really loved her, and he was
he
kind and
wanted
gentle.
he
Hopefully.
wanted the version of her that he saw, which was this shy, timid,
Yeah.
enchanting young woman.
Yes.
And that's what leads me to kind of lean towards, oh, I think she probably did say, like, talk to him about her traumas, but he just was enchanted by this idea of her. And going through Wikipedia last night after I watched the movie, there are a lot of different interpretations of this film and whether or not it's a misogynistic film, whether or not it's a feminist film. And I don't really think it's either one. I do think it's a commentary on how older men particularly want their wives to be. And we've talked about this a bit in the mini show with Death Note. This came out 6 years before the anime started, and how, you know, culturally traditional Japan is and still is in a lot of ways. So I think the fact that she was such a shy, timid girl was appealing to him because, you know, even in America for many, many, many centuries, we wanted quiet, docile women that just did what they were told.
Right.
And being an older man, getting back into the dating scene, that was probably very appealing to him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I remember like and we did get a lot of like background on just in the movie on like what was good like in a woman and what was like not wanted. You know, like the traditional, and then like the women who were like out and having fun and like were independent, and that was like unwanted. Which like culturally,
even with the son's girlfriend, the dad told him, oh, just give her my dinner and I'll go get something. And when she's still down there, when he comes down to go get her food, she's like, oh, let me go cook you something.
I was like, damn, girl.
Girl, you're a guest in this house.
Yes, seriously. But
like, it's their job to feed you.
Yeah, so you see those little snippets of like, okay, well, that's the norm. That's like the norm. So and then even when he was talking with like the other guy he worked with who set up the audition, the main character, he was saying like he preferred like an older woman is what he thought that he wanted to have, until he was introduced to this whole world of like young women who may be interested in him, and that totally changed, you know, like he's like, I want a young woman, but I want her to act like an older woman.
A young woman is more malleable to what I want my wife to be.
And but I also want her to
what he wants his wife to be is his previous wife. And again, why I think he was charmed by Asami in the first place is how similar they look. Like same beautiful straight hair, same smirking smile.
They resemble each other too if you like look at them kind of next to each other. So that resemblance, but then he's like, but I also want them to be like, you know, smart and independent and like, you know, know a skill, like a traditional skill, like, you know, like fine arts or something, and like all this stuff, but also like only be 24, you know.
And even in the torture scene, Asami still maintains that sweet, girlish outer shell that she has while she's doing this like super twisted shit to him. She's like, hee, deeper, deeper, deeper.
And you know what? However she says deeper in Japanese, that is like a I was watching this one like show. I think it was with Eli Roth. He has this like review show about like horror stuff, and he talked about how like that line is iconic actually.
Mhm.
Because it sounds so cute in Japanese.
Yeah.
But she's saying deeper. I didn't know what she was saying though. This whole, I never saw the movie, but it's deeper, deeper, deeper. So that's really disturbing.
Yeah.
but iconic.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Rest
yeah, I
in
think there's a
peace.
lot of ways you could read into this movie. I'm not gonna say it's a feminist telling or like it's a lot of it is misogynistic, but he does get punished for his misogynistic viewpoints. So I
Yeah.
would categorize this a very early entry into the good for her genre of horror.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because he's not the only, I wouldn't even call him an abuser, but she does get revenge on her other abusers.
Yes, definitely does. Yeah.
Um but I would, it's not a rape and revenge movie, which is, the precursor to Good for Her, but it is, I think I would call it a early entry into the Good for Her genre.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good categorization.
Good for Her, like Midsommar, and
Yeah.
I mean Midsommar is the only one I can think of right now where
Right. Yeah. Let
where
me
we're like, yeah,
yeah,
good for her
good
setting
for
her
her.
cheating asshole boyfriend on fire.
Yeah, like a fuck that guy categorization.
Like
you
it,
know.
like you said, it is hard for me to say straight up say fuck that guy because he was very sweet to her.
It was
I
though,
think
yeah. But
his biggest flaw was I don't think he actually
give
saw
yes,
her.
saw her and like accepted her as she was. Yeah. And that's something that she said at the end, something like, like you finally like I feel like I could be myself with you and you love me just the way I am, or something like that. But like unfortunately, that's really not how it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here is a good excerpt on Wikipedia from a couple other film critics.
Okay.
In Audition, the character Asami is a victim of child abuse. Colette Balmain, in her book Introduction to Japanese Horror Film, described Asami as just one more face to the wronged women in Japanese culture. They are victims of repression and oppression, and only death and loneliness remain for them. Film critic Robin Wood wrote that through her child abuse, Asami is taught that love and pain must be inseparable. The audience is led to identify with Asami through this victimization, and also what Stephen LeDrew described as a patriarchal Japanese society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's basically what we said, is a lot of it seems to be a commentary on this objectification of Japanese women, even within their own culture, of, how they're supposed to be. And I think that's a universal message because everywhere in the world there's this like projected image of what a woman is supposed to be to
Right.
be appealing to a man.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So anyway, on to production.
Yeah.
My first note is very small, and it's I love her outfit during the torture scene. I love the boots. I love the leather gloves. Or rubber gloves. I love the rubber apron and the white dress underneath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's also an iconic outfit.
Yeah.
And the
Like
big syringe.
if you dressed as that for Halloween,
people should know.
People will know what you are.
They should know. Yeah, shouldn't they?
Yeah. If they're smart, they know what you are.
If they're smart and they've maybe like seen a movie or two, yeah. But that is an iconic
like
look.
that is one of the top-notch recognizable horror movie outfits, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like you got Freddy's sweater. Michael and Jason, their looks are pretty like you recognize them, but between the two of them, they're interchangeable. They both wear the same like jumpsuit.
Like a mask, yeah, or jumpsuit, yeah.
But like this look, top notch, beautiful.
Top notch. It is. Yep. So that's a great outfit. All of her other outfits are interesting too. Like she always wears like the white, and then she has like that big pink jacket that she wears sometimes when they go out.
Mm-hmm. I do like that she wears white throughout the movie until the torture scene.
Yes.
And I think that just shows that white is the universal color of purity.
Yes, ma'am. I think it is. That's why.
So of course she's dressed in white because she's this pure little angel baby who's just waiting for the perfect man to make her a wife.
Yes, yes, and there's no tarnish on her, and so
Yeah.
she's just perfectly pure.
Pure and beautiful.
I wrote a whole research paper about this and presented it too, but that's a whole other thing regarding like, just portraying women as virgins, because that's what men desire, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Especially in horror films such as this. This is a great
Yeah.
film all about that pretty much. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and that's another
Right?
great point is this film came out in 1999,
Yeah.
and horror movies always reflect society's fears, right? Like,
Yeah.
body snatchers in the 50s, and then slashers coming to get your promiscuous daughters in the
Right.
70s.
Uh-huh.
So I do see that, as times change and newer generations step into positions of power, and how we change the way we want the world to be, how the older generation look at that and
Yeah.
are afraid. So,
Yeah.
Japan, a traditional patriarchal culture, seeing a young woman fight
Yeah.
against the idea of her purity and her innocence like this.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it all fits into that whole theory of how horror represents societal fears.
Yes. Yeah. That's an excellent point. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. This is a great film, and that this is why this is in the top 100. I mean, not just because of the body horror, but because it's deeper than that. It really is a great film.
Mm-hmm.
Production. I don't know if I have any production notes other than like they do the gore very well, because it's like you don't see it. It's not all that in your face, but
The foot cutting scene is so well done.
it's just disturbing when you do see it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So it is well done. The needles going in, like nobody likes that. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
likes a needle. You know what I mean? So it's like it's universally disturbing,
Yeah,
right?
I don't want to
Yeah.
look up how they did the foot cutting effect because I don't want to ruin it for myself. But
Yeah.
it's very misery like, right? Like
Oh yeah. Yes. Yes.
like we don't like
No.
Misery I
Yeah.
think was only PG-13, but that fucking foot breaking scene,
Oh God.
I know how they did that. I know they filled like fake feet with jelly or something. So
Yeah.
when Kathy Bates hits it with the hammer, it really
Oh,
goes.
it really just goes right over there.
So I feel like it's probably a similar concept with how they did the foot cutting, but it looked so real.
Ooh, I know.
It was so good.
Really good, really, really good stuff. Everything else is just it all looks good. There's no like
Mhm.
special hues, or like no special like special effects or anything like that. It's just practical effects, it
Mhm.
looks like to me.
Yeah. One like camera note
Yeah.
I noticed was in the beginning, it's all very, still stationary camera work. But once she
Yeah.
leaves him at the hotel and he starts trying to figure out like where she went and who she
Uh-huh.
is, it switches over to a shaky cam.
Oh, get out. Okay, well, there
Yeah.
you go. He's like freaking out.
Yeah.
His world has become unstable without her,
Yeah.
like
So
so
I thought that was very good.
that's really good.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's all
Um,
I got for production, I think.
yeah. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and go through realistic aspects right quick.
Ooh, all right.
Um, Creepy old men hitting on younger women.
Yes, being abused by like an older man adult when they're in a position of power, such
Mm-hmm.
as being your instructor for like ballet or something like that.
Yep. The
Yeah.
people in your life who are supposed to protect you betraying you.
Yeah. That is a big one. I would also say, and this would have nothing to do with the abusive part, but like being a ballerina, but like having an injury that causes you to have to quit like your something that's going to become your career,
Yeah.
that can be really like that can kind of like mess everything up for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like your dream is gone because you have like an injury and your hip is fucked up,
Yeah. The person you love ditching you the morning after you do it.
Yeah, like being an older man and having a young son who's also 24 and going after a girl that's 24, so they like the son might like be into your like wife,
Yeah.
his new mom. Like that was a
Yeah.
moment.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, that is being obsessed with dinosaurs. Like, come on, man. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. He really loved
um
dinosaurs.
losing the love of your life and not knowing how to move on with that.
Yeah. She just dies young. So that sucks. Be like really thinking that you have like a connection with someone, but they turn out that they want to torture you instead, and so you're just like your whole idea of what's happening has been flipped on its head.
Having a connection with someone only to realize they're not really seeing you.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, and that makes you mad, so you should be mad. Having people in power who like may or may not work in like, you know, production like of movies and things like that, and them just like doing whatever they want, such as like looking at beautiful women all day, and like none of them ever getting a job, which is what they think. So just like totally like pulling the wool over everyone's eyes, like everything is a big scam. So that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
I know, there's a bunch. Killings, having your dog get killed, that sucks. Little puppy.
Yeah.
Bark.
I think that's all I have right now. I would give this movie I'd give this movie an yeah, that fucked me up.
I agree. Yeah, that fucked me up. Yeah, that's all the big realistic aspects. This won a lot of awards and got a lot of nominations too. American awards such as like the Chainsaw Awards. It got like a 3 Chainsaw Fangoria Awards for best like actress, best screenplay, best limited release movie, you know, all this stuff. So that's pretty cool. So hey, yeah, it was a good one. So everybody watch it. It looks like this whole movie is on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
By the way, I think I just stumbled upon it because I'm trying to look at the throw up scene.
Nice. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's on Tubi, and it sounds like it's also on YouTube. So
yeah, if you just look up Audition 1999 full Japanese thriller movie, and all 1 hour 55 minutes 27 seconds on there.
Yeah.
Dark Matter TV is the subscriber.
So stop putting it off and go watch it.
Yeah, literally.
We did finally.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm really, really glad I saw this. This is one of those films that you do want to see if you are a horror fan. It's worth watching once. And it's definitely worth the watch. Yeah.
All right.
Cool. That's all I got to say about that. You ready for the outro?
I sure am. I gotta go carve a pumpkin.
All right, well, buckle in because here comes the outro. All right. Thanks for tuning into our episode. We are the Real Horror Show podcast. Our host is Sam Odie, and I'm the co-host, Stormy Skies. The podcast was created by Sam Odie and Stormy Skies. It's directed, edited, produced by Sam Odie. You can find Sam on Instagram at oh hi, I'm Sam, one word. And you can find Stormy on Instagram at the Stormy Skies, all one word, of course. You can find the Real Horror Show podcast on Spotify, TuneIn, iTunes, Google Play Store, Pandora, and anywhere you stream your podcasts. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you're always in the know when a new episode comes out. Follow us on social media. You can find the Real Horror Show podcast on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, and our Twitter handle's still good too, right? AKA X. We're still there. We do more than just podcasts. We love to write and have plenty of great movie reviews and essays, all of which can be found on our website, realhorrorshow.com. We love hearing from our listeners. You can ask us questions or send us movie requests to review by DMing us on social media, or you can even send us an email at realhorrorshowpodcast@gmail.com. Call for guests. Do you love horror movies? Are you a podcaster, a content creator, a movie lover, or anyone in between who is a listener to our show? We would love to have you as a guest on one of our episodes. Reach out to us via social media DM or email us at realhorrorshowpodcast@gmail.com. Our podcast episodes featuring guests are all listed on our website, realhorrorshow.com. We are so thankful for all of our listeners. You are the life force for our podcast. I mean, it wouldn't really exist without you. Thank you all for making this podcast real and supporting us as we record every week, or we try to record every week. You can support us in different ways, such as liking and sharing our podcast episodes on social media. Giving us a review will help the podcast more than you know, and will help other listeners find it too. You can also donate to Real Horror Show by visiting our support page on our website, where you can make a one-time donation via PayPal. Buy us a coffee with the Buy Us a Coffee button, or explore our very interesting Amazon wish list. So, and this is something I wanted to ask you about, Sam, before I read this, but we stand behind SAG-AFTRA and WGA, but I believe the SAG-AFTRA strike has ended.
The WGA strike has ended. SAG-AFTRA
Okay.
is still on strike. So we support SAG-AFTRA on strike.
Excellent. Yes, so WGA, the strike is ended, but of course we still support SAG-AFTRA. If you want to support SAG-AFTRA, then consider donating to the Entertainment Community Fund, which supports those who are out of work. You can also donate to other funds benefiting actors, writers, and crew members using the links found in the episode notes. And Sam is going to carve pumpkins, but is there any other pertinent news other than Halloween's around the corner?
We are doing a little collaboration with our indie podcast friends, Invasion of the Remake, which should be out around Halloween. So that was super fun. So be sure to check that out.
Yes, absolutely, Sam and I had a joy writing and narrating our own story that is in the vein of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one of our favorites. So yeah, check it out. That was really fun to do, and we love collabs.
Yeah.
Our outro song is called Creepy Doll by Jonathan Colton, and he can be found at jonathancolton.com. Thank you, fuck off, and have a swell evening. This is Real Horror Show signing off.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And there's a creepy doll that always follows